Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nimble Urban Survivor. I'm your host, Nick Catelli. Hope you're having a good month, good day, good year, good something. I got some good news. Got a little bit of bad news. I guess the good news is that Joe Biden takes over as president tomorrow. So maybe everybody will, finally calm down. We'll get over COVID and life will, get on whatever, right? Bad news. I just checked the Powerball. Or no, Mega Millions. I forget, both Mega Millions and Powerball are like $500 million right now. So I've lost both of them. They just pulled the Mega Millions numbers for tonight. I lost again. And it's so funny because I'm like taking it. I'm like, Lord, I can't believe I lost again. Like as if I actually have a chance. Because what is it? It's like 1 in 300 kajillion billion, win the lottery or something. I don't think my chances are, but, I bought like 10 Mega Millions tickets today because, well, I'm just that guy. Other bad news is, if you didn't know, the LA Rams lost their playoff game against the Green Bay Packers. It was an okay game, and then Green Bay just kind of ran away with it, and LA lost. Now, that being said, if you didn't know, I had put some a bet down on the LA Rams. I had actually bet the airtime for this show to another podcast, and I lost. So on this episode of the Nimble Urban Survivor, you're actually, here in a few seconds, are going to be listening to the, what's it called? No Legs podcast, which is a podcast that talks about failed television pilots. So, you lose a bet, you give up your airtime. That's life in the podcast world. If you didn't know, that the podcast world has a very big underground, betting scenario. So without further ado, here is No Legs, the podcast.
Cheers, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of No Legs, the podcast, with me, your host, Samuel Barrett, where we take you on an in-depth look into the various and, well, I would have to say millions of failed television pilots that just couldn't make it in Hollywood and were deemed to not have legs. Hence the title of this show, No Legs. On this week's episode, we take an in-depth look at a failed pilot from the 1990s titled Flushing Away. It was going to be a family comedy that could be part of the TGIF lineup, such as shows as Full House, Step by Step, and the hilarious Family Matters with Steve Urkel. Flushing Away just didn't have what it takes, and today I'm joined with my guest, executive producer, creator, and writer of the Flushing Away TV pilot, Kevin Bomberg. Kevin, it's so lovely to have you here.
Thanks for being here. I know they told me I couldn't smoke out there, out in the lobby.
No, you're not allowed to smoke.
All right, yeah. You don't mind if I just do a little of this, Oh, I call that producer juice. So some people got to drink alcohol, but I'm not disgusting like that. I just do.
Okay, just for the record, I can't say what you're actually doing in the room. We'll just say that you're putting some powdered sugar on a cookie or something.
yeah. That's good. I'm not gonna lie. I might use it.
Okay, so let's just let's talk about your career and your history working in Hollywood. How did you get your start working in television?
It's a good question. It's a good question. And growing up as a kid, I really loved TV. It was great. I watched TV like all the time, and then my parents would always put me in front of the TV, while they went and they made love in the other room. Because we're a respectable family. We don't call it the S word or anything like that. We're respectable. So I'm watching TV one night, and I'm thinking to myself as I hear my parents in the other room making love. I'm 23 at the time.
Excuse me, you were 23 years old?
Yeah, I was 23 years old. Typical 23-year-old kid hearing his parents making love. I'm watching TV, and I think to myself, I could do this. I could make a TV show. How hard is that?
That's amazing. So, I would assume the next day you probably trying to get a job as a personal assistant, working your way up the ranks, or maybe like a talent agent's assistant, trying to learn the ins and outs of Hollywood.
No. I just went in my parents' room, and I remember my parents, they stopped making love, and my dad was like, "Why the hell are you in here?" And I was like, "Dad, I think I want to be a TV, producer and make TV shows." And my dad was like, "I'll do whatever the hell you want just to get you out of here so I can finish." And he wrote me a check right on the spot for $2 million just so I'd leave the room so he could finish. And boom, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I don't want to say anything, but a television producer was born right there in that minute.
Oh, that's interesting. So he just wrote you a check, and then you decided to make a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. Because, in reality, to make it in Hollywood, and I think this is really true. You got to think of it like, everybody does like their hard work, and they start at the bottom, and then they wake up one day and they're like 74, and they're like, I'm still a shitty assistant over at a talent agency in Beverly Hills. But I think in Hollywood, the real way you make it, and I think the real secret.
Oh yes, and I think everyone here on this podcast would love to hear what is the secret to make it in Hollywood? Is it the gusto? Is it the encouragement? Is it the confidence? Is it putting in the late hours, burning the midnight fuel?
No, I'm going to stop you right there, Brittany. It's pretty much, it's two ways to make it in Hollywood. Number one, you got to be married into it, kind of like the king. It's like the queen over in Britain, and, people are married, and then they, like, become the king or the queen just because they're, like, blood related. That's the number one way to make it in Hollywood. And I think the number two way is to just, have rich parents. And I was fortunate enough to have, like rich parents who could just give me a check so I could make television shows. And, that's kind of how I got my start.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I guess that kind of brings me to my next point. Obviously you're a television producer and a film producer too.
Yeah. I've done a few short films. I've done some Bollywood films. I did a film that was really, really big in Eastern Europe, really big with the Russians. I won't get into that because there's some kind of like Trump connection, whatever. But I've produced some films, but I am definitely a veteran executive producer here in Hollywood.
And what do you think is the key really to being a good executive producer?
Well, I get that question I asked a lot. And I would say to be a really good executive producer, number one, you got to think of blockbuster.
Oh, what do you mean? Like a blockbuster, like a blockbuster idea? Like you need a big, fancy blockbuster idea to bring to the screen?
No. Excuse me real quick. No, not like that. I mean that you need like Blockbuster Video. The video rental store from the 90s, Blockbuster Video. That's pretty much what being a movie producer or even a television producer is today.
Well, that's quite interesting. I used to fancy the blockbuster, but I never thought of it as a tool of motivation to making it in Hollywood.
No. Hear me out though, because in reality, Hollywood right now, like I think of myself as like I walk into a Blockbuster, right? And I see all the movies and I see the TV shows and I'm like, this is great. And the candy and the popcorn and the TVs and whatever. Okay. And I think and I look and I pick up a movie and I'm like, I could make this.
Okay. I guess the one thing I'm confused about is that, a lot of the movies, well, I would assume all of the movies in Blockbuster were actually already made. So are you saying that you were going,
well, I'm talking about, remakes. You got to think of it like that. As an executive producer, we're not looking for original content anymore because, it doesn't really make money. So you got to think of yourself just walking through a Blockbuster and I pick up a movie and I'm like, oh, shit, Forrest Gump. We should remake this with Brad Pitt. Or maybe we do like Forrest Gump 2, The Return of Gump. Something like that. And I think that's what makes a really good executive producer. It's the same thing with television. Like I looked at kind of like, Roseanne. I saw, you look at a Blockbuster, you pick up a copy of Roseanne, you're like, well, let's just make Roseanne. We'll just bring everybody back and everybody will just watch it again. And, that's the key. I'm not going to lie. I've already gotten like leads on probably, I would say about 34 to 56 television and movie products that I'm just going to make remakes of, sequels to, new trilogies. And a lot of them, I'm going after Tom Hanks to be in pretty much, all of them. Okay, but that's interesting. I've never heard of kind of I would say that's kind of an interesting take on, being an executive producer. But what about original ideas and things like that? No, I don't waste my time with that. The problem with original ideas is you open up that floodgate, and I'm getting like thousands of emails a day, and it's just I don't really like to read stuff. I pay like 3 people to read stuff for me, and it works out perfectly. Interesting. Okay, well let's jump along and let's talk about your television pilot. Obviously Flashing Away. Yes, very 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 good show. Very good show. Never got a chance. I'm saying that just for the record. The Hitlers and the Nazis and the whatevers in here didn't give us a chance. I mean, okay, let's just calm down here for a second. So, Flashing Away. The premise from I mean, kind of give us the premise of the show. Okay, well, in the 80s and the 90s, comedies like sitcom comedies were coming like a big thing, and it was all, I would say, it was kind of all about, I would say, character, right? You're going to see character, because I think that's what makes a really good show is we had all of these strong characters in the 80s and 90s. No, I'm going to stop you right there. It's not really characters per se, but it's location. Okay, so what you're saying is that a good television pilot needs a good location. Exactly. Look at this. We're on the same path here. That's good. So there was a little show that I used to watch all the time, and it was called Cheers. Oh, yes, I love Cheers. It's such a wonderful program. It lasted, I believe 11 seasons. I mean, what a wonderful cast of characters, and it all took place in a lovely... Yeah, just shut up for a second. But, I like Cheers because it took place in a bar, and I love bars. I would go to a bar, I would fancy myself at a bar, I'd like to drink in a bar, I would meet women in a bar, do a lot of things at the bar. But here's the thing about that, is bars really isn't that interesting. I think the interesting part of things that take place at a bar is in the bathroom. So you think that if Cheers would have been in the bathroom, it would have been funnier? Oh yeah, for sure. If Cheers was set in the bathroom, because a lot of cool things go on, in a bathroom at a bar, especially after 2 a.m. So you got to think of it. You got got a lot of fun stuff there. Obviously, you're relieving yourself, which is kind of a good thing to do. There's drug deals, which have a lot of drama. There's sex, which kind of hits that kind of like romantic comedy, erotica. People are throwing up, which is kind of the dramatics, kind of a Lifetime kind of thing. And I really did believe is that comedic family situations could take place at a bar. And that's why I feel like Cheers only made it like 11 seasons. If they would have shifted the location from the bar into the bathroom, that show would have lasted for, I would say, 42 seasons. Okay, so you do realize I don't think any television show has ever lasted 42 seasons. All right, well, I'm just going to say one. It's the Simpsons. They're getting there, okay? So don't question my intelligence, all right? I'm the big movie producer guy. You're just, some whatever. I don't know, the Queen's cousin or whatever. I don't know where you're from. Okay, well, so just to recap here. You're thinking Cheers, but it's in a bar. And you think that that's going to be an amazing television show. Yeah. And I did a lot of research. I was going to bars. I was getting drunk. I was throwing up, doing all this stuff in the bathroom. And I'm like, this is $1 million idea. Okay? $1 million idea. So I instantly go home and I write the script. And I titled it Flushing Away. Okay, and you're saying that the title, Flushing Away, is about, you go to the bathroom to flush away your sorrows, or maybe the water is a metaphor for, flushing away the drama of your life. You're relieving yourself. So it's not really about, I guess, a physical bowel movement. It's more about a metaphor that describes that here you can wash away your sins or your negative energy and feel like a better person when you walk back out of the bathroom. It's almost like you're re-entering the world again. Well, no, I mean, I didn't really think about it like that. I just thought, like a lot of fart noises and stuff. It's kind of funny. So you kind of have like a situational comedy, but those fart noises and things like that gets in. Like we wanted to pull in like the 8-year-olds. I wanted to create a show that not only just got in, that demographic of like 20-year-olds to 50-year-olds. I wanted to get in that demographic that was like, babies that were just 3 weeks old to like people that lived to be 124. Because I was setting it big. My audience I was writing for was the planet Earth. So that's what we've got. We've got a family comedy, and it's like Cheers, but it all takes place in a bathroom. And it's genius. And the script, after I read it, was genius. So I guess give me an idea, Hem. So you write the script, and then how many rewrites did you do? I don't do rewrites. Rewrites are for suckers. Let me tell you something about rewrites. Rewrites are you just admitting that you can't write, so you have to fix it over and over and over again. Let me tell you something. If you pitch a project to me and you tell me that this is like more than the second revision that you've made to the script, I immediately kick you out of my office. Immediately kick you out of it. Don't admit your failures to me. Rewrite means failure. If you didn't know, rewrite is Spanish Latin for big fucking failure. Okay, so you write the script, and tell me about what was the premise of the pilot episode. All right, so you're gonna love this. What it is that it all takes place in a male's, oh, give me a second here. Oh man. Oh, God, I can feel my Bud Lights from last night coming back to say hi. Okay, so the premise is 5 guys meet in the bathroom. And the whole show just takes place right in the bathroom. And every episode always, starts out with like they hilariously relieve themselves. So it's like tons of fart jokes to help get in the young crowd. And then we get in depth. And in the pilot episode, what had happened was I had written this character named Terry. And Terry was constipated. And he was going to tell the other guys, this is really funny. He was going to say, like, I can't go to the bathroom anymore because I'm constipated. And the doctor says I might not ever be able to go to the bathroom again. And so that was going to be the thing, is he was going to be leaving the bathroom. Okay, interesting. So, like, he couldn't urinate either? I guess I'm confused there. No. We're just talking about number 2s. The show's never, that was the one thing about the show is we never wanted to really highlight the number 1. I don't think urine is funny, to be honest. So we always focused on number 2 because, like the kids and all that, they think that's really, really funny. And I spent a lot of money on market testing. And a lot of people agree that, farts and things like that, really, really funny. Okay. So Terry tells his friends, he's constipated, has to leave the bathroom. So the whole episode is them selling the bathroom to him so he can stay. And then his other buddy, Nick, goes out and buys fake poop so he can pretend like he's still going to the bathroom. And so it's this hilarious thing, and the owner of the bathroom's coming in. He's like, oh my God, if you guys aren't using the bathroom, get the hell out. It's kind of like when I used to work in coffee shops, and they're like, if you're not gonna buy coffee and just use the free internet, get the hell out. Kind of the same thing, and it was really, really funny because in reality, when you think about it, that kind of happens in real life. Okay, so what do you mean? I guess that kind of brings me to an interesting point, because when you write a television show, you want it to be relatable. You almost want it to, you want your audience to think, yes, this could possibly happen. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do, because, like, you've been there, like, we're in L.A., you go to a Starbucks, and, like, a homeless guy, like, lives in the bathroom. And then the manager, like, pounds on the door, and is like, get the hell out of the bathroom. And then the homeless guy's like, I'm still going to the bathroom. You can't kick me out of the bathroom. And that's the show. And so, like, Nick and Terry, and they do all this stuff. And it's just we wrote a joke, like, every 30 seconds is a joke. And it was amazing. But we did run into some technical difficulties, though. Okay, so tell me about, the technical difficulties, I guess, per se. Okay, well, number 1, we couldn't figure out the science to simulate, like bowel movements. And, I don't know, they got all these laws now, like you can't go in the bathroom and like videotape people and shit without them knowing and their permission. And, like when you make a fart sound with your mouth, it doesn't sound the same. Like, listen to this. If I just go like that, like, here, try that. You want me? Okay. No. Put more lip. Go. I'm sorry. I'm not very. I'm not very well versed in the art of the lip fart. Okay, yeah, well, you're British. I don't even know if you guys fart or not. But, we ran that technical difficulty. Then the other issue we kind of ran into is that, obviously, we could only build a men's room because for some reason in America, the Republic of America, Jesus Christ, God forbid we have co-ed bathrooms. So we could never really write any women into the show. And that led into like a whole big legal lawsuit. What do you mean, a legal lawsuit? Well, I mean, like women's rights groups, things like that. They're very upset that we had written pretty much an all-male, only male show. And, I had to release a statement that said, we can't cast women in the show, not because you're women. It's just that women aren't allowed in the men's room.
Well, that's interesting, because did you ever think about just, maybe you made like half the size of a men's room, and then you could make a female lavatory too? I mean, you could have had the best, that would have opened you up, I feel like.
Yeah, and the thing is, you got to remember, this is 1990s Hollywood. I mean, it was pretty much just ran by white guys, right? White old guys pretty much running Hollywood. Nobody here had a clue what a female restroom looked like. I'd never been in one. A lot of the producers I worked with, you got to remember, it was all male-driven at the time. Wasn't much diversity. I feel like if we made the show today, though, we probably would have done that because obviously we would have hired some really, really smart women and things like that, and they would have been able to kind of give us the blueprint. So that was a bad thing, is we couldn't design, females into the show because no one had ever been into a, female restroom, and that was a big legal thing. A lot of our budget went to go to paying off, like, women's rights groups so they wouldn't sue us, okay? So we didn't really, have a lot of money when it came to, like, special effects and the cast.
Okay, well, that's, I guess, we always kind of run into difficulties per se when it comes to making a show. And you said you couldn't get the sounds right. I mean, eventually, what did you do?
Eventually, I just tried to make the sounds with my lips, just like we did, and it kind of worked out. But see, that's the thing, is it wasn't, to me, it wasn't about the farts. It was about the farts, but it wasn't about the farts. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a yin to the yin thing. It's like that Chinese Buddha thing with the yings and the pangs and things like that. But the thing is, what we wanted to do with this show, or I guess what I would say is I wanted to do, is I wrote one of the very first, I would say, groundbreaking scenes in all of television history that nobody ever got to see.
Oh, how fascinating. So tell me, what was the scene?
Okay, so think about this, all right? Star Trek, right? Star Trek, the Starship, Captain Kirk, and all those guys, they had the first interracial kiss, right, on television.
Oh, yes, it was a very, very historical moment between Captain Kirk and Uhura. I can't pronounce her name. I'm so excited talking about it. But it was the first time in history breaking the barriers of race and,
Yeah. Okay. You're getting a little excited there for my taste. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to top that, because that was just a kiss. A little kiss. And we've all kissed people before. I kiss people like every 5 minutes. But I wrote in there, I wanted to have the first interracial male poop scene that also had a kiss.
Okay, so you wrote in a scene. Now, were the two men, were they lovers? Were they interested in each other? Did they fall in love in the bathroom?
No. I just wanted to do that just to top Star Trek. So, we have it to where, they're an interracial couple, and then, but they're straight. And then, they kiss each other and then go to the bathroom at the same time. And it was something that had never been seen in television history. It was a historical moment in TV that just never got to be seen. Okay? Because when you think about it, going to the bathroom is never acknowledged in anything. I was watching Star Wars the other day, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars, and he's fighting like the clone troopers and all that. And the thing I'm just thinking the whole time, and I think this a lot when I watch stuff, is why isn't anybody going to the bathroom? Like, you're telling me that Obi-Wan Kenobi can hold his bladder that long and fight off all those people and not have to, like, relieve himself. Because I can tell you right now, if I had a bladder full of urine, I couldn't be swinging a lightsaber. I'd probably, end up peeing. I'd have to have a Depends on. So the whole time I'm like, why doesn't Hollywood ever show bathroom stuff? Okay, so that's quite interesting because to me, I don't think bathroom breaks, showing them in movies, I don't really feel like that helps carry the story, I guess, along. So it's kind of brushed over, per se. Yeah, I could see that, but, you're missing out. I mean, like, what's Obi-Wan Kenobi doing in the bathroom? I'm thinking about stuff like that. How many sheets of toilet paper, or like future toilet paper, space paper does he use? Like after he's done, do like Jedis, do they have like a bathroom attendant? You got like the Jedi Council thingy thing, I mean, is there a bathroom attendant there? Is he an ex-Jedi? I mean, what's Obi-Wan Kenobi do? Does he use like mints? Does he use aftershave? Is it like a Jedi aftershave? A lot of stuff that I feel like if George Lucas would have listened to me when I reached out to him about this, I mean, I don't want to knock the new movies with Kylo Ren and all that, but they should have had a scene where Kylo Ren's like, in the bathroom and we get to see him there. Probably would have saved the whole franchise. I'm just saying. I'm not knocking Disney because I know, Disney controls everything. And I love Disney, just for the record. I love Disney. Please don't sue me. But is there a lot of us that kind of think that, maybe we could know what goes on in the bathroom? Because I feel like a lot of the story is lost. Okay, well, that's, I guess I never really thought about that. It's a very, very interesting, very, very interesting take. So, maybe we'll see that in some future movies, maybe more bathroom scenes. Yeah, well, you better see it because I actually, I got a patent on it. So anybody who writes a bathroom scene in television, movies or web series or whatever, I'll sue the fuck out of you if I see that without, paying me off to do it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's move along because, as always, I'm here on No Legs. We like to play a short scene from the pilot. So Kevin, why don't you set this scene up for us? All right, good. Yeah. So, obviously you guys is a podcast, so you can't see it, but in this scene, this is Terry. He's talking to Nick. Terry is constipated, and he gives this, he's telling Nick that he's going to leave. And Nick gives this great speech about how when they're in the bathroom, they only get to be themselves in the bathroom. So I think you're really going to enjoy it. I put a lot of heart, I put a lot of heart and soul. Oh, man, those are chicken wings from like 2 weeks ago. I feel like I'm tasting. Okay, sorry about that. So I put a lot of heart and soul into the scene.
Excellent, because yes, I do agree that it is definitely passion which fuels the tool of the writer's hand. So, for my audience out there, for your pleasure, a small scene from Flushing Away.
I don't know what to do, Nick. I haven't taken a bowel movement in what feels like centuries. And if that's the case, I have no truth or lie to be here in this restroom.
Terry, don't you speak like that. Don't you realize the next time you see a number 2, it'll be over at another restaurant, maybe a trough at Wrigley Field. The next time you take a bowel movement, it's going to be in some other bathroom, probably at a French or Mexican restaurant, okay? Our parents, they want the best of stuff for us. They want the best of stuff for us, but right now, they got to do what's right for them. They got to stay out of it because it's their time. That's their time up there. But down here in this bathroom, it's our time. It's our time down here. That's all over the second we ride up Troy's bucket because it's our time. And that bucket is a toilet that you don't disrespect. Because I love you. I love you in just a regular man-to-man way. But if you don't poop with me, then our friendship was just a lie.
don't like to live lies. Because if I'm going to live lies my whole life, then I'm just going to flush myself away.
I love you.
And I love you in a platonic way. Every time I hear that scene, I cry a little bit. That is like that in reality, we should have won an Oscar for that scene.
Okay, even though that you can't win Oscars for television. Also, I don't know how to say this, but when he's talking about our time and up there, and this is your their time down there, that kind of sounds a little bit. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Goonies.
No, I've never seen it in my life. I don't know what is that about. Like Italian goons or something?
No, it seems like that speech that Nick makes in the scene that kind of sounds like it sounds kind of like the monologue that the kid made in the Goonies. Remember Mikey? He was they were down and the gold coins or something. That doesn't ring a bell to you?
No. That's all original. That's all original, man. That's from the heart. Because Sam or Samuel, whatever. I write from the heart, and that's important. And I think at the end of the day, I put my heart and soul into this show. Obviously, we ran into a lot of technical difficulties, and we wanted to keep it as realistic as possible. So we actually did have a lot of I would say number twos laying around, and some of the cast and most of the crew got a combination of hepatitis and pink eye. But that's method.
Interesting. Okay, so you're more kind of a method director, writer, producer, I guess.
Yeah. It's just method and poor hygiene and.
So like people just weren't washing their hands.
No. I mean, it was a lot of people were just kind of it was 90s Hollywood. It was 1990s Hollywood. Like nobody had any good hygiene. I'm not gonna lie. There was like I went for like weeks on end without showering. Because I feel like, that just takes time away from me, living it up in Hollywood. I was bathing myself in so much cologne. I pretty much was just like a walking cologne ad, But, that was hygiene. I feel like hygiene in Hollywood didn't really improve until probably like 4 months ago when COVID took place. And now, everybody's like washing their hands and got the hand sanitizer. So, I really honestly believe that if you made this show today, I'm pretty sure we would be on network television.
Really, you think you'd be a network television show?
Yeah. I really believe we probably could have made it on Hollywood, and I think it would have been, we'd probably get picked up, because this is a show I designed to run for, probably like 23 seasons or something like that.
And you honestly believe that you can keep a show up about a bathroom for 23 seasons? I mean, your typical TV show doesn't really last, more than 4 seasons. But you're thinking big.
Yeah. It wasn't all going to take place in the bathroom. We were going to have this hilarious thing happen in season 5 where the urinals get ripped out, and they install like a trough urinal, and then people have to deal with kind of that issue of like stage fright. And I think that was going to be a really important thing. How like at the time in the 90s we had Dare, who was like dare to do drugs. Well, we were going to do a thing about, stage fright when it comes to being around other people in the restroom,
And what do you mean? Is that an American term? I know what stage fright is, but there's a stage fright in the water closet?
Yeah. Like you go in the bathroom and, it's packed, and, you're trying to relieve yourself, and somebody's like standing directly, right behind you. It's kind of hard to perform. You get stage fright, and it kind of all holds in. And that was something we were going to address in the show, because I think it's a very important thing, because I think statistically 34 to 95% of people, are affected by stage fright every year. And I honestly believe that, bathroom stage fright is worse than like depression.
Okay, so you're saying one of the biggest things in America, maybe the world, depression,
is outranked by the anxiety of stage fright? Exactly. I mean, you read my mind. You read my mind. And that was something we were going to address on the show. And obviously, we never got to do it. And, I just feel like the show, it's like you're losing out because we had a little bit of everything. There was comedy, there was realism, there was the first interracial bathroom kiss. That was going to be monumental. I feel like if that kiss would have gotten released today, that the Berlin Wall would have gotten torn down even faster. It's stuff like that. If they would have released my pilot and people saw that, I'm very confident. Like we probably have like world peace or something right now because of me. Okay, Kevin Bomberg, world peace movie executive producer. Okay, well that's really interesting. So just to recap, at the end of the day, Flushing Away, a lovely 1990s comedy sitcom. Obviously, you've told me that could address some of the more political issues going on in the country today, but I guess was deemed not to have legs to make it in Hollywood. And Kevin, just talking about the show, it sounds like it could have been a splendid show, and I'm terribly sorry that it never got picked up. Yeah, it's okay. At the end of the day, it was my dad's money, so I didn't really lose any money. And my trust fund just kicked in its fifth pot, so I'm set for the year. I'm a little upset though because usually I get like $200 million, annually, and this year I'm only going to get like $180 million. It's some whole tax thing. I don't know, Biden, Trump, whatever. But everybody's roughing it right now. Okay, so you would consider $180 million roughing it? Yeah. I like to let people know that. Is it that us Hollywood types right now? During COVID, we're roughing it too. There's only so much I can do in my 17-bed mansion, in the hills. Like, I get bored, I get it, man. You're quarantined, I'm quarantined. I've only been in the pool and the sauna, and I have a bowling alley, and it's like, oh, my God, I'm just bored. I'm ready to get out just like the other people. I'm ready to get back to 200 million. Like, I feel the pain of the middle class and the lower class. Okay, well, I don't know if you guys are kind of on the same level, but I guess in reality, we're all suffering. And at the end of the day, it's interesting to imagine what Flushing Away the pilot could have done for, I guess, the entertainment industry. Yeah, I mean, pretty much we were going to be like the Rosa Parks of TV. Okay, that's okay. I don't know if all right. We were going to be like the Ronald Reagan of television. We're going to be the Ronald Reagan. What is that better? I don't know if that's better. It might be a little bit better. That last comment, we might have to cut that. Okay, but with that, Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on No Legs. Again, I'm terribly sorry. Is there any projects that you're working on right now that we should be interested, or maybe we'll see another one of your television pilots that will brave the screen? I mean, I'm working on a few things. I'm kind of in trouble right now with the Securities Exchange and a couple other lawsuits and things like that. But I think you're going to be seeing some new ideas. And as I think about Flushing Away, I'm just going to say one word to you for my next pilot. One word: coat rooms. What goes on in a coat room? Like, do you ever think about like what goes on? A lot of shenanigans go on in a coat room, or maybe a walk-in closet, or a porta potty, or maybe a men's shower at at the YMCA. There's tons of small spaces that I think have a lot of potential for TV pilots. And I'm going to have somebody. I hired somebody off Craigslist to ghostwrite one, so I can take all the credit. And you might be seeing something new. Kevin Bomberg making his way in Hollywood. I strive to be kind of a combination of Buzz Aldrin and Kanye. That's kind of my goal, is to be a combo of them. I'm on the moon, but I'm kicking ass in Hollywood. So look out, because Flushing Away didn't work out in the 90s, but the year's 2020. I'm going to make a comeback.
And I hope you do. I wish you well, my friend. Again, everyone, thank you for tuning in and listening to No Legs. Again, I'm your host, Samuel Barrett. Check in next week when we take a look at a lovely little sitcom made in the 80s during the cocaine drug craze of Hollywood called Drugging Away, a pilot that was set about a man who was forced by the cartel to marry a cartel lord's 12-year-old daughter so she could become an American citizen. It has hilarity written all over it. Again, thank you and good night.
Okay, well, that was the No Legs podcast. Very nice, very nice. I don't know about you guys, but those two guys sounded a little familiar. I don't know if I've met them before, but, you don't meet anybody anymore. It's all via virtual emails and Zooms and, all that stuff. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in to the Nimble Urban Survivor podcast. This week's episode, obviously, the Lost Bet, and I hope you enjoyed the No Legs podcast. Hopefully they take off. Hopefully those guys take off. So remember, guys, if you ever want to be on the show, feel free to reach out to me on my website at www.catellicomedy.com. I know that there are a lot of amazing podcasts out there you could be listening to, so I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to mine. Tell your friends about it, like, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff, because remember, it's a free podcast to listen to. So again, guys, have a great week. Let's get through COVID, and remember, stay safe out there.